Hi folks, welcome to Inside Track, Cheltenham Special. Jim here with me again, the Scottish Sun. Jim, days 1 and 2, incredible drama. The Mikey O'Sullivan double yesterday, I mean, it just seemed to be written in the stars, didn't it? What a fantastic day's racing it was.
Yeah, fantastic day's racing again, Robert. Absolutely superb. The crowd was down, dramatically down. We can talk about that another time, perhaps. We'll just concentrate on the racing this week. That's maybe an issue that needs to be addressed. But no, a fantastic day's racing, and the highlight for me, and I think the highlight for most people, would have been the Champion Chase, won by Marine Nationale, Barry Connell's horse, which of course had won the Supreme a couple of years ago under the late Mikey O'Sullivan. Great emotion around the track because of the education that Mikey gave this horse as a young horse. But I just felt sorry for Sean Flanagan. I felt sorry because Sean had actually taken over from Mikey on this horse a couple of runs ago, and he gave it a lovely educational ride before it came to Cheltenham. And I thought he gave it an absolutely terrific ride yesterday. Anybody watching this programme yesterday, Robert, will know that I said that there's no way they'll lay out their ground as much as they did the previous time behind Solness. And I think every other jockey in that race had the same idea. There was no way Solness was going to get an easy ride yesterday, and he didn't, and that put paid to his chances. And I thought Sean Flanagan rode an absolutely superb race on Marine Nationale. I think he was still a one if the other horse hadn't fallen at the last. I think he was well in charge by that point. He travelled like a dream all the way through it. A very worthy winner. Sean Flanagan, I suspect, deserves a lot more plaudits than he got yesterday. But of course, we were all thinking about the late Mikey O'Sullivan, who made this horse as a youngster over hurdles.
And you'd flagged up Marine Nationale back in November to win this race.
Yeah, I was very, very pleased. I think I mentioned yesterday I was on anti-post at 12 to 1 and 8 to 1. It returned at 5 to 1. Even 5 to 1 was a fair price because I thought it had every chance yesterday. And delighted with that, absolutely delighted. But let's give a mention to John Bond. Poor old John Bond made that horrendous mistake. A lot of jockeys would have pulled him up. Nico kept going and got second prize for his effort. So well done, Nico.
Some of the jumping over the last 2 days, I mean, getting Ballyburn, getting beaten things, it's been absolutely crazy, hasn't it? I mean, the drama has just been off the scale.
Well, it just reminds everybody, Robert, and I've been banging on about it for the last couple of days. The fences and hurdles are there to be jumped. All these people banging on about odds on, four-timers and all the rest of it. I mean, the fences have to be jumped. The hurdles have to be jumped. It's a tough old game out there. And the good horses are coming to the fore. The good jumpers are coming to the fore.
Well, we'll start off in today's card. We kick off with the Mayor's Novice. What do you fancy in that one?
Yeah, not a race I like, Robert, I have to say, but I'm going to come down on the side of one here, and I think I've mentioned it before in our preview programme, the hour-long show, and that's 6.5 for Gavin Cromwell and Keith Donoghue. What a ride Keith gave that horse in the cross-country yesterday. Again, we managed to flag that up, Stumptown. You asked me in the hour-long show what I fancied for the cross-country. I said one word, Stumptown. It was only one word, it wasn't two. And he rode a terrific race, won that yesterday and won it in great style. He's on Gavin Cromwell, 6.5 in this race. There's a lot of unknown quantities here, but 6.5, she was a very good race mare on the flat. She's only had the one race over hurdles, but she did it like an old hand. She's not a great price today, so no way I'm going overboard on this. But 6.5, I think, is good enough to win. I will, though, mention the forgotten horse in the race, and that's Diva Luna for Ben Pauling and Keelan Woods. I think that'll run very well indeed, and I'll mention Ben very shortly too. What about yourself?
Well, we flagged up in the Cheltenham preview that we did Galileo Dame getting £10. I thought it was very interesting. So we're very, very eager to see how she runs, given the weight she's getting, the experience she's got off the flat and stuff. But it's not a race I'm going to get hugely involved in, but I'm going to have a saver on Galileo Dame.
Yeah, and I'll be very interested in that as well, because we both know that Joseph O'Brien's horses are flying this week, and I'm going to mention one of his later on, which I haven't mentioned at all yet on the build-up to Cheltenham. But we move on to the Jack Richards Novices Limited Handicap Chase, over 2.5 miles. And I haven't had a nap up the first 2 days, Robert, but I'm going to nap Pick Rock here for Ben Pauling and Ben Jones. I think this horse has been laid out for this race. Fell first time at Carlisle. That was a bit of a surprise. It was odds on to win that race, but has since come out and run second twice. I thought he's run very well both times. I think he's very nicely handicapped in here. And I appreciate Joseph O'Brien's Nürburgring Ring has been attracting money over the past few days, and I suspect it will run a huge race. But Pick Rock for me, I think the Pauling horses are in great form. He took a day off from Cheltenham yesterday. He went to Huntingdon, had 2 winners from 3 runners. He's back with 5 runners today, 2 more tomorrow. And I think Pick Rock's going to run a fantastic race. I'm fingers crossed that he's going to land a nap. What about you?
Do you expect him to go for his front, Jim? Because I think
I'm
over
not
2.5
sure.
miles
I'm not
to
sure.
Cheltenham, you need to go for the front these days.
Yeah, I'd love to think that Ben Jones will give him every chance. Whether he has to be at the front, I'm just not sure. But I think he's handicapped in such a way that he's going to be able to utilise a little bit of hurdle speed when he gets the chance.
Yeah, and then we move on to the Pertemps, which is a minefield as always. I put up Patter Merchant on the preview show. We backed him at the Dublin Racing Festival. I'm going to stick with him. What have you got in the race?
Yeah, I totally respect that opinion, Patter Merchant. I think it's got a chance. I also think that Catch'em Derry's got a chance. But I'm going to take a little each way chance here on Idem for Lucinda Russell and Patrick Lodge. Lucinda was very, very enthusiastic about this horse's chances when I spoke to her at Ayr last Saturday. It's a big price, and rightly so, but it did run a really eye-catching race, shall we say, at Musselburgh last time. Cheltenham's a totally different track. I think he's quite nicely in at the weights here. And I had a look at the prices last night, varying from 22 to 28 to 1. I think we'll get an each way run for our money. And of course, hopefully the extended places. But Patter Merchant, I can fully see where you're coming from there.
A few weeks ago, if you'd asked us about the Ryanair, we'd have been all over Fact to File, thinking he's bomb-proof. All these short price favourites they're getting chinned at the moment. Are we still in a Fact to File train, or can we now see Ele Francais or Protectorat or somebody coming beating them?
I am really not sure. This is the race that has baffled me on the build-up, and to such an extent, I won't be having a bet. I am going to put one in the place pot though, because the place pot paid 11 grand on day one, and it was still a very healthy 500 odd yesterday. So I'm going to put Protectorat in the place pot in the hope that Harry Skelton is going to have him right there jumping the last, and he won't be far away. But I really don't have a firm opinion on this race. You've mentioned Ele Francais and Fact to File. I would mention the same two horses. But Protectorat to run into the frame for me. What about yourself?
I might back Jungle Boogie each way, just on that run that he had the Gold Cup last year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the Bromheads horses are running that great, are they?
It's difficult to tell. They're showing up well and then not coming through at the end. So it's very difficult to tell. Even when a stable isn't running well, you always get one or two that do. So it'll be interesting to see how Jungle Boogie performs. 11-year-old now, but it's a race I'm just going to sit back and watch and hope that Protectorat hits the frame.
Yeah, and then move on to the Stairs Hurdle, where you've been a big Home by the Lee fan all year.
Yeah.
I take it nothing's changed your opinion there?
Nothing at all has changed my opinion there. Home by the Lee was between 5.5 and 6.5 to 1 last night. I think that's still a very fair price. If you do want to back it each way, that's still a fair price as well. You're going to get your money back. But I think this has got a real winning chance. His preparation appears, and I don't have any inside track at all here, but his preparation appears to have been different this time. He is now a 10-year-old. I suspect they now do have to humour him a little bit when they're getting him ready. But the two races that he ran in last year and lost and was well beaten in, he's running the same two races this year and won. And remember, he wasn't beaten far in this race last year behind Tihapu. I very strongly fancy him to reverse those placings. And I don't see anything among the other horses, apart maybe from Crambo, which I think might have some improvement left in that one. But Home by the Lee, one of my quite confident selections today, Robert.
Right, and then onto the plate, which in our preview show, I mentioned Jazzy Matty for, which came out and won the Grand Annual yesterday. Path to Roo was my horse for the Grand Annual, so they've swapped races. I'm going to stick with Path to Roo. What are you going to back in this race?
Yeah, you're quite right to do that, especially after Jazzy Matty won so well yesterday. I almost managed to sneak onto Jazzy Matty, but I didn't, so I can't claim anything there. But the one I'm going to put up here is one that I've not mentioned in any of our build-ups so far. It's a horse called Jordan's, trained by Joseph O'Brien. That man again, the name keeps coming up. Ridden by JJ Slevin, who is looking forward to what could be a fantastic ride on Banbridge in the Gold Cup tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that as well. But Jordan's, this horse is running in a handicap for the first time. He gets in here off 148, which is not a gift. Let's not pretend it's a gift. It's not. He fully merits what he's been given by what he's done so far. But what he's done so far has been in graded races, Robert, and he's done it very well. I think he'll be well suited by 2.5 miles, stiff 2.5 miles. We're on to the new course, remember, today. It was the old course the first couple of days. And I think Jordan's has got a really good chance here tonight. This afternoon in the plate for Joseph O'Brien and JJ Slevin. That's one I'm putting up today, Jordan's.
Well, the last race of the day is the Kim Muir, and we've talked about Johnny Hu quite a few times this year about how they've campaigned him to get him to the festival in a handicap. he's actually a bigger price than I was expecting him to be. I thought he would be shorter. I think he's about 7 or 8 to 1 this morning. Are you still fancying him, or are you looking elsewhere now?
Well, I think he's got a great chance, and the Racing Post, Robert, have put up the JP special today on the front page, and T Hapu is the last horse in that big accumulator. They think he's going to have a fantastic day in the green, gold and white colours this afternoon. I like a horse that's a mare, actually. Sheena Nominee, she won the Fox Hunters last year. She's back over the exact same course and distance this afternoon. John Dawson, her jockey, he had a bit of a fall in a point-to-point recently. He's had to pass a concussion test, which he has. The weight's okay for him. If it had been further down in the sort of 10-7, 10-8, I don't think John would have been able to ride, but it's 11 stone 2 this afternoon, maybe even 11 stone 3. I've got the old 6-day decks in front of me. But Sheena Nominee, I think, will run a big race, and I think she's going to be an each-way price. I don't think the ground will be any problem for her. And I would throw up Get Maker, which is wearing cheap pieces for the first time for Jamie Snowden. You've already mentioned Johnny Who, and maybe further down for Gary Brown, Walking on Air, with, of course, Alan O'Sullivan, Mikey O'Sullivan's brother, on board. And I suspect there'll be a lot of emotional money on that one.
That's great, Jim. Thanks very much. Good luck today with your bets, folks. Thank you.
Good luck, everyone.